Today marks the 83rd commemoration of the Day of Valor or Araw ng Kagitingan. President Bongbong Marcos led the ceremony honoring those who fought and died for the country during World War II. Marcos offered flowers at the Dambana ng Kagitingan or Shrine of Valor in Mount Samat, Bataan, dedicated to the heroes of the Battle of Bataan. He was joined by representatives from Japan and the United States, along with remaining war veterans and families of fallen soldiers. In his speech, Marcos honored the courage and sacrifice of Filipino and American soldiers who fought during the war and emphasized the importance of unity to achieve peace.
We celebrate today Araw ng Kagitingan, the valor, the courage, and the sacrifice that is demonstrated by every single Filipino every single day. Peace cannot be attained by one person, by one country alone. And that we have to bring together all the parties that are involved.
In a separate message, Vice President Sara Duterte said that as the country faces challenges of unity and progress, Filipinos should be inspired by the heroism of the World War II veterans. And following today's ceremonies honoring our war heroes, let's take a step back to understand the deeper meaning behind this today. And joining us is historian Xiao Chua. Welcome to the Big Story, Professor. Isang magiting na araw sa iyo. Sariwain siguro natin, what are the
Makasaysayang umaga, Ma'am Seth, Sean, Pauline, and to everyone.
What are the historical events that led to this day in 1942? And please include in your answer whether it's apt. You know, we've been debating this for many years. Kung bakit, kung kailan pa bumagsak ang Bataan, doon natin sinasariwa ang valor ng mga Pilipino.
Well, first of all, remember that Japan attacked us in 1941 December, and the whole of Southeast Asia. And what happened was, by February, the Japanese already got a lot of Asia, and the Filipino forces na outnumbered, MacArthur ordered all the USAF forces, Filipino and Americans, to be stationed in Bataan. So we will defend just one peninsula, and that is Bataan. This is to frustrate the plans of the Japanese for a total invasion of Asia. So by keeping Bataan standing until we can. And we were able to fulfill that until April 9. That's why even if it's a story of defeat, because we were the last one to stand, and the last one to fall, against the Japanese, then we became like a sort of inspiration, like the mascot of the fight for freedom, support from people. And that's why they said, remember Bataan, remember Corregidor. So yun po yung kwento why. We emphasize, even if it's like a defeat, we emphasize the valor. Yung valor kasi Kagitingan means that despite the enemies na napaka-impossible odds, we face them and kumbaga lumaban pa rin tayo.
So kumbaga pwede nating we could have chosen to call this day the Fall of Bataan and commemorate that, but instead we choose to be optimistic. Yun yung pinagdedebatehan natin, yung optimism ng Pinoy. And we decided to focus on their valor, yung Kagitingan. Ganun ba?
Yes, dati naman kasi Bataan Day ang tawag dyan, But eventually, kasi Bataan was really like a famous talaga do sa generation na yon. But of course, with a new generation, people might think that, Bataan is like a synonymous to defeat. That's why we have to change it to Kagitingan. Perhaps that's what I was thinking. Wala pa naman ako noon. But maganda rin kasi remember that we are honoring not just the veterans of Bataan and Corregidor, yung tinatawag na mga bastards of Bataan kasi iniwan ng Amerika diba? But all of the Battle of Bataan kasi, after that defeat, it strengthened the national guerrilla force that eventually won the war for us with the Allied forces. So, ang nakikita natin dito, we commemorate all the veterans, not just the veterans of World War II, pati yung veterans sa Korean War, Mindanao War, the veterans of the Revolution. And we see this as just one step to victory. Sabi nga ni Salud Algabre, the Amazona leader in Cabuyao, Laguna, walang himagsikang nabibigo. Ang lahat ay hakbang tungo sa tamang landas. Parang yun yung nakikita natin dito. We see the victory of our heroes despite the defeats that we have had.
And Xiao, you know, one of the stories and faces that really stood out for me dito sa Battle ng Bataan is the one of Jose Cabalfin Calugas. Siya yung Pinoy na tumakbo daw ng 1 kilometer para lang umabot dun sa isang bakante na field gun, no, para kalabanin nga ito nga mga Hapon. And he even got a U.S. Congressional Medal of Honor award for that. Just tell us the significance of what he did.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, well, basically, ano yun kumbaga parang it was a feat, no, na parang ang dating nga kakaunti na nga lang yung kanilang mga resources, no, kakaunti na lang yung mga bala, yung tao, no, pero ang nangyari nga doon, no, he was able to do that feat despite all the odds, no. Yan ang ano, kaya napansin ng Amerika yan at binigyan agad siya nung medalya, no. Yan si Calugas isa sa mga isa sa mga notable figures sa Battle of Bataan. Significant yan kasi parang yun na nga, no, we tend to focus on the defeat of yung death march, which is terrible, no, terrible, and we have to remember that. Pero hindi natin nakita na ang dami ring mga battles na yung mga Pinoy ay nagdingning. Halimbawa, one of the battles there is yung mga battle of when we frustrated the Japanese, they cannot enter doon sa first line of defense. And then we have the Oryok-Bagak line. We also have the Battle of the Points and the Battle of the Pockets. Even the Igorot warriors were part of the defense of Bataan, no? Yun nga, kaya nga nag-hold tayo ng 3 months. But yun nga, the problem was the Americans left us kasi they decided to have Hitler first kasi they cannot have war on 2 fronts, Pacific and Atlantic Ocean. So Atlantic Ocean na muna. And anyways, the Japanese surrounded the whole of Asia. That's why American forces cannot really come to the aid of the people in Bataan. So talagang naiiwan talaga tayo doon sa laban na yan.
Yun yung naalala ko, no, about the fall of Bataan is parang iniwan tayo ni General MacArthur. Parang ganun yung nagyari. Although we know na masakit yun at labag sa kalooban niya, di ba? Pero parang nung iniwan niya tayo, do you think ano yung mga lessons that modern day Filipinos can eke out from that experience? Kasi medyo parang, kumbaga ngayon, pelikula na lang or TV show na lang, series na lang ang World War II.
Okay, ganito po, no? Ayoko pong magsalita ng masakit, pero siguro isa-summarize ko na lang mas madali, no? Ang tutulong lang sa Pilipino talaga ay ang kapwa Pilipino. Let us not depend on foreigners to defend us. Yes, perhaps they can help us, pero yung sabihin mo totally that they're going to defend us once we are at war, even with mutual defense treaties, of course they're going to think of their interests. Look at what happened in Ukraine, di ba? So what we need to do is actually to always pursue the path of peace and diplomacy until we can, despite standing for our, our principles and our beliefs as a country and our sovereignty. But yun na nga, yes, we are peaceful people. But when we are, pinakitunayan din natin ng World War II, the lesson also was, despite the fact that the Japanese was a bigger enemy, the guerrilla movement became effective in eventually gaining freedom for, excuse me po, gaining freedom for us. So I guess that's also the hopeful thing about it, that when Filipinos, they are, kapag tayo bayan ng magiliw, pero sa manlulupig, hindi tayo pasisiil, at hopefully that will also happen. But, of course, we all hope for peace, never again to war.
Yan ang magandang mensahe, I think. Matuto tayong tumayo sa sariling paa.
And, they've done it before. Di ba? We've showed the world na nagawa naman pala natin dati.
Pero ito, Xiao, curious ako. I mean, how can we still exemplify valor, kagitingan in our daily lives? Kasi, I mean, nowadays, diba, the younger generation, medyo nawawala na rin yung essence ng araw na to, yung holiday. Kumbaga, for them, they just look forward to having a day of rest. But how can we really commemorate the essence of yung Araw ng Kagitingan?
Well, first of all, no, we just have to be patient telling these stories. You are helping us because you are interviewing us and helping us tell the story and bring it out to our young people in the social media and in YouTube. Pero ako, I cannot demand anymore to the ordinary worker, to the ordinary government employee, you in the media. Na when you go up, when you wake up in the morning, 'di ba? You go to your work, you do your best. I mean, ang hirap na nung nangyayari sa atin. That's the valor that we show every day, and that valor is contributing to the GDP of our country, 'di ba? Every good thing that you do, every kita that you will make, no, it contributes to the national development. When we do our best, Andres Bonifacio said, ang kasipagan sa paghahanap buhay ay siyang tunay na pagmamahal sa sarili, asawa, anak, kapatid o kabayan. I think when we do our best every day, I cannot demand anymore to the ordinary man. They've been doing a lot already. Now, hopefully, we galvanize all these efforts into a better government, no? Hopefully, sana in the future.
And one last question, Xiao. Kunwari, gustong nating ma-impart, no, sa mga anak, pamangkin, younger generation, kumbaga, the lessons of this, in a more literal sense compared to Pawi's question, what kind of, kumbaga, tourist spots or historical spots can we go to really, kumbaga, get a feel of Araw ng Kagitingan? I guess Bataan would be the first.
Mount Sama.
Well, we can let them march for 100 kilometers, ano? Maybe they will fit. I'm joking, of course, but pero 'di ba, I think you should try going to the Capas National Shrine in Capas Tarlac. Diyan yung Camp O'Donnell, diyan yung yung concentration camp ng mga forces. Meron pong train diyan na makikita ninyo na yan po'y pinaglagyan ng mga prisoners noon of war. Diyan sa train na yan, diyan sila nagsiksikan. Parang makikita nyo, very poignant. And then, when you go to the memorial at Capas, you will see the very, very long wall, granite wall of the men who fought during the war. No? Nakalista sila doon, ang mga veterans natin. So, baka may mahanap silang lolo doon, o kahit wala, no, you just see the sacrifice of a lot of people just to give us freedom. I think Capas National Shrine, aside from Mount Samat, is the perfect place for you to feel that heroism of our veterans, mga lolo at lola veterano natin.
Thank you so much, Xiao, for your inspiring words. That was historian Xiao Chua explaining to us the day we are marking today.